Hello and welcome to Rainy Day Crafting. Okay, today we're going to do a little bit of stamping, okay, with some embossing, so there'll be a bit of heat sealing as well. It's a technique, generally, the more you do, you sort of get more proficient at it, really. You know, I love my cards with the texture. Well, I feel that these cards, you know, you sort of tend to think, oh, a plain stamp, you know, sorry, a plain card would probably stamp on better, which, yeah, it might do. But I just like how, if I'm not putting an awful lot on the card, what you're stamping on there looks good. That's what it's all about. And obviously, I'm going to show you as well where I made a mistake earlier, and I sort of tried to make the best of it because, you know, the cards are not stupidly priced, but at the same point, you don't want to muck up. If you do muck up, there are ways to sort of cover your mistakes. Okay, so these are the stamps I'm now using, and I'll probably make you laugh what I'm now going to say. They come in a packet like this. I don't honestly know if you can still buy these. These are Messy Rabbit by Joanne Sheen. Okay, rubber stamps. Now, you might just think I'm nuts, but when I first started using, not these ones, but, you know, ones like these, because they actually come, they're quite thick rubber. And I can remember trying to sort of like put my ink on there and sort of trying to do bits, not really thinking that obviously you have to cut them out. Okay, so here's one I've cut out earlier. And this is, so it's this little rabbit where he's got his sort of baggy jumper. Okay, so I've cut it out. You need to cut it out sort of near enough round the edge, because if you somehow have a little raised bit, accidentally your ink will go on there and then it sort of mucked up your card, which is a bit of a shame. Now, this is one of these, can't think what we call them, stamping platforms. I've got a couple. There's this one, and I have got this other one, which, to be fair, is supposed to do these, but which has got for rubber, and as a tonic one. I like them both, but because I tend to try and sort of stick this down a little bit, I tend to use my older one for these, really. And these are little magnets that can sort of hold your card in place. So basically, you get your card. If you now wanted to, example, do a lot of cards, you know, sort of batch card making, this is how you would do it. You would literally just have like a little production line, get your cards ready, and where I'll now be printing this and putting the clear embossing powder on. The one I use that I really like is Wow. You can buy in sort of quite big. I've now got another one on order because this is the first one I've ever had, and I've been doing this for years, so you don't get through that much, but I quite like a bigger box to use it in. I still seem to spill it, and so I put the card over and put, as you'll now see. Anyway, let me get on with it. So this is what I've done. I've actually, it sounds like I only have a shop in Poundland. I do shop in lots. This is the heavy duty spray adhesive, where I just put a little blob of that, you know, on the back of this, so I stuck it down, so it shouldn't move. And I did stick the little holly leaves to another pad, but anyway, I've decided to have a go with this. So basically, keep your hands clean as much as possible, because if you get the ink on there, that's where you sort of muck up your cards. So this, obviously there's others on the market, but the VersaFine pigment ink for fine details, okay, personally, I think this is the best on the market. You know, obviously there are other ones, but it generally allows you to stamp really, really well. Okay, so with that, which you can get refills for it, you know, little bottles that you refill. So obviously it is quite juicy. Just literally. So the stamping platform, obviously you don't have to have, but if it ends up that you sort of miss a piece, so I'm now not sure if that's going to be too much on there, looks a bit thick. If you miss a piece, I always have a baby wipe at the ready. Obviously it won't catch that because it's raised. I'm not sure if it might end up doing on that corner or on that edge there, a bit of a thick edge. So stamp it up, and with a stamping platform, pot it where it's going to go, rub it down a little bit, and if it's stamped okay, that's fine. Not bad. You see, it's a little bit pale in places. That has stamped lovely, because I weren't sure. Can you sort of see that end bit there? I wasn't sure if that was going to blob. So what I'm going to do is just do this again. Pat, 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 pat. You can do it a couple of times. So if you'd have just done that on a regular stamping block, which yes you can, but getting it lined up, the chances of you actually getting it in the same place, that's probably a bit like winning the lottery probably. But anyway, so back we go again. Exactly the same place. So, you know, if that had been a stamp, I'd have mucked it up if I had dropped my block. So there we go. It's sort of that easy. Oh, do you know what? I wanted that over there. I forget it's like the mirror effect. But anyway, that doesn't matter because we can do other things. So now, let's just move this out of the way. Really cute. And can you sort of see that's done quite well? But what I really like, what I'm going to show you, by using, this is clear, let's say clear embossing powder. I totally forget to say, a little bag that has, I made up myself, has got corn flour in. It often pays to dust that over your card before you do your stamping, purely because in case there's any sort of, oh, I don't know if your hands are touchy cards, although to be fair, I've just pulled these right out of my new stock of cards, so I'd like to think they're all right. But anyway, so then stop chatting, Sarah, get on with putting this on. But if you are now doing a batch, knock it off. See, that's all just gone back in there. And I don't think there's actually, for once, any on my table. So now, this is just an old bit of wood drawer, I think, that my husband made for me, just with a bit of that, you know, what you put in the oven. You put your oven chips and things on. A new piece, obviously. I've just stuck on there, which sort of allows it to almost have a bit of stability behind it. Right, a little bit of noise now. I always say this is the exciting bit, watching this do. Sometimes it's a case of have it out of the way a little bit just to warm it up. It's a heat gun I'm using, by the way, which is a hobby craft tool. Then you just like the magic now. Right, if I hold it up to the light and turn that, can you see? It gives an absolutely, oh, I think I missed a piece there, because obviously that shines well when it's done. Now, because that's one of these grey based stamps, they are thicker rubber, where I'm actually wanting to put the Merry Christmas, you should see, which that's just on one of these blocks, which I'm going to do now. So again, this is where, oh, if you muck it up, it's a little bit of a humbug. Right way around would be good, Sarah. Okay, just sort of press it on there. This is where, you know, obviously using the stamping platform, I could get the other stamping platform out and pop it on there. Because if it missed in any way, although this design is so it looks like as if it's got snow on, I think. So it wouldn't necessarily. Just remember exactly where you're putting it. Hold it just for a second or two and off. It's not bad. It's not quite as good as I'd liked it, but that'll have to do because there's no way I'll be able to get that to sit in exactly the same place again. But if you were now doing a load of batch cards, you could set these all up and just conveyor belt. Right, let's just put that one out of the way. Obviously, if you haven't got a load of stamps, if you've got some, hang on, let me just do this first because that will soon dry otherwise. can you see that? I mean, that only sort of miss a few places, but that's because it's almost like as if it's got snow on it. So there we have a card. Sometimes now to let it dry would be a good thing to make sure it's nice and dry. I have got one. I want to explain. This is one I did earlier, and there's another one here that I did that was fine, but I then put that in the corner and that mucked up. I don't know if you can see a line. So to be fair, what I ended up doing is putting a few more, which is still possible, right? Although it's slightly smudged there. But I won't get rid of this because I could cut this out and then pop that up on the card if you want to. Does that make sense? Because can you see where his whiskers are? If you then did a pop-up on there and you cut this out, you wouldn't bother to cut the whiskers out because there's such fine detail. But this is the beauty of this VersaFine ink. It does the fine detail beautifully. But you could then pop that up and then the whiskers would still show through on your original. But anyway, I'm literally doing this card as a, what I would feel is a easy, regular, flat card. So, you know, if you've got all them poster load, this would be good. So what I'm then going to do, I've got Hickory Smoke Distress Oxides. I've got Festive Berries, which is sort of typical, and I've also got some Mowed Lawn. And I just want to show you these as well. Now, this was the Mowed Lawn colour. Can you see, if I hold it up there, how, if I just show you, I'm not necessarily going to put these on there, but I just want to show you another technique while I'm here. So here's my bit of sort of paper, card paper that I'm going to colour. So if this was my Mowed Lawn, these daubers, which you can buy, I can't remember how much they are, about a tenner, I think. And you can keep each one for your sort of colours, but they're little daubers. I have got brushes as well, which are very good. I could actually show you, hang on, let's just show you on a piece of, I'm just going to show you this, and then I'll give my card just a minute or two to really dry. So if I was doing it, I'll just give you some different effects. Okay, these brushes, I think I got off from Amazon. If I show you on a new one, which is, I would sort of keep a pink for a pink. Can you see they are very, very fine? I think they're sort of obviously for craft, but I think people do use them for makeup. Anyway, they are really good. So once you've finished using them, you then just rinse them under your tap, let them dry. Okay, and so, you know, they end up might be slightly discoloured, but, you know, if you sort of more or less keep maybe some colours for colours. So I'm going to show you the two different techniques with this, because I had then done with a little dye, which again, I often keep the berries and things together. So I just show you these when they're then cut out. Can you sort of see the different colours in them are quite lovely. So I was initially going to be putting leaves on there, but I've changed my mind, I think. But anyway, let me just show you this technique anyway. Right, so if I was now doing this, you sort of load it up. I would probably then just get the extra off, just in case there's too much, and then literally with a circular movement, I would just cover the card. If you sort of want to colour coordinate whatever you're making on your cards, I would always get a few bits of this all sort of ready. Like here, for example, look, I've got some browns and reds that then dried out, because it dries out almost chalky. But this is lovely, but these are water-based. So I'm going to show you also how I'm now going to do likes and sort of watercolouring. So, you know, this time of year, you can't have enough green, can you? So let me just... Can you sort of see circular movement, and it covers really quite nicely. All right, so that's a way. I might just turn that around and allow myself to do the other side. Might leave that a bit lighter, because that sort of almost then, depending on what leaves you're cutting out, it'll almost have that variegated look to it. Okay, so I'd put it to one side, let it dry. If I now just show you with one of these, you literally just load it up, yeah, and again, you can get quite a good effect. Oh, it's sort of picked up, I don't know, it might be picked up something else is on it, so I might even just try it. Can you sort of see? Nice and smooth. If I just turn that over. Lovely to use. And again, covers quite lovely. And the more you use these blending brushes or daubers, it's just the confidence that you get with it. Okay, can you see the longer I'm here, it sort of smooths it out. Quite nice. I'm going to just leave that. So I'd normally have just a scrappy piece of paper there, so yeah. So, okay, back to what we were doing. With a bit of luck, our little rabbit has now done enough. I just use one of my old diaries things to, because although yes, you can wipe this down, but you know what it's like, if you then want to do anything on some scrap paper, you move it out of the way, where you might forget if you're doing it on your top, and the next thing you stood your card down on a load of ink. So just a tip, if you've got an old diary, even, you know, any old scrap paper really, you can use just as a base. Anyway, that was just some dies I'd got, literally holly and berries. And as you can sort of see, I cut them out because I was thinking about doing that. And actually, because I kept them together, obviously it cut out some red berries and some green. Oh, I can't pick them up now. I don't know how much you need. It's obviously got red berries and green berries. But I suppose these are almost poinsettia looking, although they are actually holly. But you could, I think you could almost make up a flower as if they were poinsettia. Anyway, right, back to what I'm doing. So let's come back to this card. I'm hoping it's all lovely and dry. So if you were going to do this and want to do in whatever colours, and then you were going to cut him out and put him on top of the card, you know, like I was sort of saying, where that card that I sort of ruined. Oh, but you know what, because I've sort of ruined it, I might just show you anyway, although she says I'll just show you basically with his, I don't know if I've got a grey out actually. So if I now use the hickory smoke for him, but I'll show you on this card, because although yes, I've ruined it a little bit, I aren't planning to just get rid of it. It will still be about. But what I want to show you, what you can do as well with these, because, well, I'll show you two ways. I'm going to show you this because this would literally make him, if you want to then fussy cut him out. So he's obviously grey and he's got his little grey feet, hasn't he? Yeah. That would then dry and you could fussy cut round there easy. So that's, you know, your colouring done. If you were then cutting out whatever it is you're putting on your card, which is fine. Because if you then put some pads underneath, you'd raise him up. Even if you cut his head out and had his jumper printed on the card and had his head raised up, because it was printed up, like I was saying about his whiskers, they would show through, so that'd be fine. But I'm just showing us an easy way if you're not one for colouring as such. And then this other way, which I shall show you, I'm just going to get rid of this because there'd be nothing worse if that's still wet. We have a wood burner, so I could have turned it over, so that'll go on there anyway. So now back to this one. If I first of all, I don't know if you've seen these on the market. These are water pens. So they literally have water in. So it's almost like watercolouring, I suppose. So if I was now doing the green, let's just do the green in there first. I'll just use one of my, put some green on there. Simple as that. Yeah. And then what I want to explain is, because we've done this and heat sealed it, you've almost got a nice edge. So with a bit of luck, it won't bleed through. I have to apologise because this is actually quite hard to do under the light with the camera. But yeah, so can you see it almost like it allows you to do what you want to do without going over the edges. I'm not the best colour in the world, But when this then dries, and because there's sort of water coming through as well, it'll change the colours a bit, you know, from sort of like a light wash to dark. Yeah, so that'd be like that. If I now change, if I now oh, look at that, and laid that on the, how annoying, but fortunately that's the card that I've sort of mucked up a bit anyway. So that would be that. If I then, oh, here's another one, some grey on there, lid on, so they don't dry out. I haven't, but you can get refills for all these. They're about sort of £5 or £6 each, to be fair. But over the sort of last couple of Christmases and birthdays, my husband's bought me sort of sets of 12 at a time. So I think I've got 48 colours. But, you know, I would, if you wanted to buy, I'd be just tempted to, there's no pink left in there. Just buy a few of your basic colours. This is where I wish I could now speed this up, because, you know, colouring's colouring, isn't it? You don't necessarily need to watch me colouring. So let me just try and do, look at this. Obviously, you might not have these distress inks and things, but if you've got crayons, obviously you can do literally just a watercolour. Why did you do this? It's a bit of a sort of, not quite a smoky colour, so I thought it'd be. But again, because I really do love this textured card, I'm putting this on quite lightly, and it actually sort of shows quite nice. Okay, so that will sort of dry up almost like a bit of a chalky look. Yeah, let's just do his feet. Again, this is a card with not an awful lot on. If I'm honest, that's the sort of card I'm drawn to. You know, some of these cards have got lots of frills, flowers and loads on. They're all right, I suppose, but personally to me they're a bit too much. Now for colours, I would obviously now go to the bathroom and just rinse these out. So I've got a bit of orange in there. Let's just see if I can now do some red there. Oh, I don't know where I now got that from. Can you see there's a tiny little bit of, I don't know where it's come from. My hands for some reason have gone so dry. I think it's okay. Ah, look, that's obviously dropped off my pen, hasn't it? Hopefully that will dry okay. Oh, I think I've actually got away with that, which is lucky. I don't know whether this is dripping a little bit, maybe. Just going to show you this on here. But can you sort of see how, okay, I'm going over the edge there, but if you wanted to then cut them out later, totally different colour there, but anyway. So now so generally it doesn't seep through from this is a very fine one of these brushes. Like I say, under this light it's actually a little bit harder to do these. Let's just do his cuffs in red maybe as well. Let's do typical Christmas colour, shall we? As well, obviously you can do them all sorts of colours you want, but I like to sort of only sort of stick to no more than sort of 3-4 colours maximum, really, because if not, I think it can look gary. But because this inks here, it almost allows it to not go over the edges. I'm not going to say it doesn't ever, but I just hold that up quite close. Yeah, can you sort of see? Not too bad. Now, I mean, obviously the little snowman would probably leave white, so I'd probably go back now and get the green. Let's just put a lid on here. And whoops. Christmas trees there. A little bit on the holly here. Do you know what? I might just leave him more or less at that, because I wouldn't want to overdo him. Okay, so so this is just stamping, painting. Oh, hang on, before I call it a day, let's just need to do the berries here, I think. Probably with my grey, just because this is, let's just make sure it's quite watery. Let's just do a bit of this around him, maybe. Almost like a bit of watercolour. Maybe a red nose, to be said to Bevy. So, there we have. Obviously, I'm showing you this one, and the make again was this messy rabbit. I've just mislaid where it is. Oh, here it is. But I'm just showing you this. But if you've got any other stamps, give it a go, okay? So, and that's the card for today. See you tomorrow. Have a good one. Ta-ta for now.